Robert Heffernan with EndoTech. This is Market Vitals. It's our show daily talking about tradable assets. I'm a master endo-technician. I trade in the matrix. Everything's digital. Please follow us at EndoTech_IO and at HFR from the floor. And you can pose questions, ask questions. I will do my best to answer them. We had to reach out on the YouTube portion of this, asking why I don't show all of these lines on a chart. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I actually do believe that. And I'm going to get into that. Actually, I drew a few lines when we do a segment called Go to the Chart, and I'm going to address that. But we really don't even need to do the rounds today, because in doing the rounds, all we can do is talk about or point to the U.S. Fed rate announcement coming in a little over 20 minutes, sometime after 1 o'clock Central Time. Fed funds rate at 2.5, a lot of rhetoric both ways on whether they will hold steady or ease. For me on Wednesdays, I'll be covering interest rates. And so let's take the vitals and just talk about what that means. On a Market Vitals sheet, soon to become to EndoTech IO, right now you can see the Eurodollar DEES of 2019 contract with a value range of 98 even to 98.04, average 98.02, and currently trading, hold on, technology failing me here, currently trading 97.97, off a point and a couple of points and a half. The market anyway pricing in 50 basis point ease between now and December. But recently this was higher and people actually anticipating more. I think there was a lot of froth in the expectation here. And now if they don't do anything this month and things don't get worse, maybe that's wishful thinking that they'd be easing 50 basis points by December. So the market for sure doesn't know which way to go here. And, when Powell talked last week about an easing stance out of the Fed, we saw the S&Ps rally 100 handles, basically. SPOO's right now trading 29.21. And for me, that momentum level key here for the rest of the week now, 29.17 is the weekly up momentum level. Continued dovish talk and or a rate cut out of the Fed here today. I think this thing goes and trades towards that $3,000 handle in the S&Ps. And, for me, the short-term rates, it's anybody's guess here how proactive or, how aggressive they will be in an easing cycle here. Now, they haven't eased in over a decade. How about that little tidbit? So for sure, we haven't been in this situation. But with the trade war going on, the seeming fragility in the system, who knows what they'll do. And I'm actually flat right now. They chased me out of my shorts. I do think long term, if there's that much fragility in the system, I don't know how, stock prices go through the roof if they're going to be easing, because it tells me that a recession is more likely than not. And that's what the yield curve picture has been painting. So we shall see. I will let the momentum guide me. All right. Mind the mo for sure. All right. Let's talk Bitcoin. Because it's really just consolidated here. Right now, Bitcoin trading at Bitfinex at, hold on. Bitcoin at Bitfinex trading 91.58. And again, this momentum level just easing higher and higher. And as we trade sideways, in my many decades of, well, not many decades, several decades of experience watching momentum modeling, we had a nice extension up. We have been trading fairly sideways here. And then we're going to go, have a meeting of the minds, so to speak. 88.83 is that up momentum level in Bitcoin. And I could see us go test that. And I really will be paying very close attention to how the market reacts once we test that momentum level, because through 88.83, we go test the weekly up momentum level at 84.32, and that's where it gets very interesting for me a little bit longer term. Are we going to have a full retracement pullback from some of this monster rally that we've had over the last couple of months? Or are we going to make another leg up and just, prove the pundits that chirp and tweet right that Bitcoin's going to the moon and going to the moon quickly? Anyway, that's what I'm keying on. That's what I'm keying off of. And that's what I'm paying attention to. All right, listen, let's do the rounds. I mean, not do the rounds. Let's go to the chart, though, so I can show you something here. Going to the chart, sometimes I pull these up. A lot of times in the past, our go to the chart segment has been specifically to point out our friend the Doji. But in this case, I wanted to just address the comment made on YouTube about why don't I draw all the lines from the Blockchain Vitals sheet on the chart. And the reason why I don't is some of those lines aren't necessarily going to be in play on a daily basis. Not only that, if you take the pivot modeling with targets, you take the value range, and you take the standard deviation modeling, and now you're talking about 16 lines, 17 lines on that chart. I've always had a problem with trend lines personally, and how some people can draw 50 trend lines on a chart and then be magically correct when one of their trend lines happens to be a high or low, and they're like, see, I drew the trend line. Yeah, well, you drew 50 trend lines, so of course you were right. Anyway, for me, when I'm trading something, I will sometimes just put the value range in. Actually, I do. When I'm trading hogs, and I trade hogs a lot, I put that value range in every day. I make sure I know what standard deviation modeling or momentum line collar that we're close to. I'll incorporate that and some of especially the second and third target on the pivot modeling. So instead of putting all of the lines in, where are we trading and what lines or what levels are important, and I will for sure put those. Another thing to point out here is the green line there is today's value range in Bitcoin, or yesterday's value range, and currently today trading right inside of it. We went up and sniffed out that upper value range level, and we're not able to penetrate through it. So sideways as we go. In general, value range trading is about as logical as it gets. All right, think about value range trading as if you were a physicist. All right. Physics says that things in motion tend to stay in motion, things at rest tend to stay at rest. And so when you are trading inside a value range, things that are in a value range tend to stay in the value range until what? Until they don't. When you build time and volume outside of a value range, you tend to redistribute and find a new value range outside of the previous one. It's kind of simple, and I like simple. Tony Robbins told me that and somebody told him, this wasn't from Tony himself, but the complexity is the greatest killer of execution. So in trading methodologies, I try to find things that make sense personally for me. I try to keep it the number of things that are that I'm trying to monitor. Right, I'm trying to keep that not complex. A small number of variables that I'm trying to juggle in order to make my buy-sell decisions. And so that's what I'm looking at it. So right now, Bitcoin firmly within yesterday's value range until we break out of that and or test that up momentum level. And I could have drawn that one in here. So I'd really have three key lines for me today. Yesterday's value range and the up momentum level as my key indicators of where I think this thing is going on penetration, building time and volume outside of any of those levels. All right, that's what I'm seeing. Listen, thank you so much for watching. Please tweet, share, whatever you feel appropriate. Respond, ask a question, and I'm here to help. And again, thank you so much for watching. Be disciplined, trade disciplined, mind the mo. And I'll be back tomorrow for another segment of Market Vitals, and we'll see just how much impact this Fed rate decision has had on the markets. Thank you so much for watching.